The next topic is grammatical marking of objects and substances. We have discussed the marking of form previously, and now we will look at the grammatical marking of objects and substances. Languages also differ in their grammatical distinctions of objects and substances. Count noun we have in English language, and these nouns refer to objects, while mass nouns refer to substances. Now, in English, objects such as horse, candles, chairs, they are referred to as count noun. They can be counted. And you have smoke, air, water. They are the mass noun because they cannot be counted. In English, there is a clear distinction between count noun and mass noun. An object is sharply delineated entity. If it is divided into pieces, it will not remain the instance of the same object. For example, to give you an example of horse, if it is divided into pieces, it would not be two horses. Now, and talking about substance is not a sharply delineated entity, which means that if it is divided into pieces or into parts such as smoke, it would always remain a part of, or it always remain a part of the same entity, or such as smoke will, even if it is divided, it will still remain smoke. Now, in Japanese language, there is no such thing such as the distinction, and distinction is unimportant, reason being that they do not have a concept of singular, plural, many, few, little, more, and so on. So now we will look at different languages and how the grammatical marking of objects and shapes are done there. Now we have, first of all, in Japanese, all inanimate nouns are treated like English mass noun. We have seen in English language you have the count nouns and the mass noun, but in contrast we have the Japanese language where the nouns are not treated like English mass noun. These nouns cannot take the plural morpheme and can only be counted as indirect manner of English mass nouns. What then does a pre-linguistic child see when looking at, say, for example, a rock or a pile of mud? So, does the child see these things as fundamentally different as compared to, let's say, rock and a stick? Now, if we look at the Wolff hypothesis and consider it as a correct hypothesis, children would not notice these similarities and differences before acquiring the linguistic distinction, that is between mass and count noun, that draws one's attention to them. Moreover, the hypothesis would suggest that children acquiring English and Japanese would see this aspect of the world very differently. Now, a study conducted by Soja and colleagues, they tested the hypothesis that pre-linguistic children see objects differently than shapes. They taught 2-year-old children new words for either solid objects or non-solid substances. Then they tested for generalization to 2 new instances. One instance matched the original in shape and number but not substance. The other instance matched the original instance in substance but not shape or number. The results showed that the children were quite capable of distinguishing between objects and substances. Now, based on this, we have Lucy, who has also hypothesized 2 cognitive consequences of these linguistic differences. And they also prove the fact that the grammatical distinction can be seen in different languages with regard to marking of objects and substances. To sum up, we have seen examples of English and some other languages on grammatical marking of objects and substances. Thus, grammatical distinction of object and substances is varied among languages.